if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
So that was US President Donald Trump's very peaceful speech at the 72nd United Nations General Assembly. Of course, you may be wondering, how can Trump threaten to wipe out countries live from the UN, the very organization that is supposed to be promoting global peace? Set up in 1945 to prevent another world war, the United Nations is the world's biggest intergovernmental organization. Its purpose was to ensure peace and make the world a better place. But has the UN actually done that? Has it ensured peace and stability? And does it give an equal platform to its member states? So the United Nations has 6 main branches. But we don't have time to go through all of that. So the ones you really need to know about are the United Nations General Assembly and the United Nations Security Council. The General Assembly is made up of 193 member states, who each get one vote to be used in a range of decisions, including appointing the Secretary General and approving the UN budget. But what is important to understand is that apart from approval of budgetary matters, General Assembly resolutions are not binding on the members. So in other words, there can be no real follow-through on what the entire world votes on. Instead, vital issues such as peace and security are left under the consideration of the Security Council. The Security Council in turn has the power to make binding decisions. So these resolutions can be backed up by sanctions, blue-helmeted UN peacekeepers, or by force of arms. The Security Council is made up of 15 member states, 5 permanent members including China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, who were all victors of World War II and now nuclear-armed states. And the 10 non-permanent members are elected for 2-year terms by the General Assembly. For a resolution to be passed, 9 of the 15 council members must vote for it. But permanent members hold veto powers over UN resolutions, allowing them to block the adoption of a resolution. So basically, these guys are running the world while we are just living in it.
Dünya 5'ten büyüktür.
Now, the problem is that the UN Security Council has not lived up to expectations. Peace and security have not been achieved, with ongoing crises in Syria, Yemen, and Myanmar illustrating the inability of the Big Five to secure millions of innocent lives. Other past failures to act in mass atrocities that have occurred in Rwanda, Bosnia, and Sudan have all triggered calls for UN reform. As the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan had stated in 2005, no reform of the UN would be complete without reform of the Security Council. One of the main criticisms of the Security Council is that it is outdated and does not reflect today's distribution of military and economic power, nor a geographical balance. So for example, there are no countries from Africa or Latin America in the Security Council. And so proposals to expand the Security Council's permanent membership have included states such as India, Germany, Japan, South Africa, Nigeria, and Turkey, which can all add much needed representation to this elite club of nations. The need for reform has also been highlighted by the constant use of the veto power that has stifled peace efforts. Over the past decade, Russia has used its veto more than 10 times to avoid scrutiny over its actions in Ukraine or to protect allies such as the Syrian regime from UN pressure. On the other side, the US has used the veto multiple times since 2005 to defend Israel from censure. And so some have called for the waiving of the veto privilege, particularly in cases of mass atrocities. Military action outside of the Security Council's consent has also been promoted by states such as the US. The use of NATO in the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003 is a prime example of Security Council states acting in their own interest outside the legal consent of the UN. So the question is, will the permanent members of the Security Council recognize the need for reform? Or will the Security Council continue being a symbol of exclusion, inaction, and the self-interests of a select few?